having me. My name is John Feal. I'm a 9/11 responder. I'm an advocate, and I'm a former demolition and supervisor. On 9/11, I watched it unfold on TV like everybody else. And 12 hours later, I found myself at ground zero. On 9/11, like most of America, I watched the events of 9/11, the 3 terrorist attacks unfold on TV. And it was 12, 13 hours later where I got down to ground zero. And I think ever since that day, more so than my injury, which I'll get to, has given me a better understanding of life truly is a blessing. I was horribly injured when 8,000 pounds of steel crushed my left foot, and I spent 11 weeks in the hospital fighting for my life. We missed 2 or 3 days because we had the flu, and we missed a friend's birthday party or a wedding. You feel like you missed everything. I missed 11 weeks of my life. I had a lot of time to soul search. I had a lot of time to count ceiling tiles, but I had a lot of time to figure out what was important to me, what wasn't, what I needed, what I wanted, and what I didn't need anymore. And it took me about 2.5 years, physically and mentally, to become the John Feal that everybody's seen on TV or the internet. It took me 2.5 years to overcome the obstacles of having to live with a half an amputated foot, and to, before I got hurt, and while my injury pales in comparison to those who are deathly ill and have died, it took me a while to overcome that. And while my injury humbled me and let me know that I'm human, before I was hurt, I thought I was the world's best weekend athlete. I thought I was Bo Jackson. I thought I was John Wayne combined. And I now know I'm not. I'm vulnerable, I'm humbled, and there are so many more people worse off than me suffering, and I'm never going to complain. We say good days, bad days. Oh, I had a good day, I had a bad day. You had a day. You had a day, and there are so many people since 9/11 from that horrific Tuesday, and ever since, they don't have days anymore. But when I got out of the hospital, I went from 185 pounds to 120 pounds. I had to learn to walk again. And, that's something you learn at 1 year old and 2 years old, learn how to walk. And that alone was difficult. But mentally, I wasn't there. And, so many people say post-traumatic is a stigma and they're embarrassed. It's something to be embarrassed about. Post-traumatic means you've been through something and came out the other side. It's a badge of honor, and I'm proud, and my chest is out and my chin is high on being diagnosed by 4 doctors with post-traumatic and not taking medication for 16 years now. You can function with post-traumatic, and I have my bad days, but I also have my good days. I know it's okay to cry, and I know it's okay to laugh, and trust me, if anybody gets anything out of this interview, if you can cry and laugh in the same day, you've had a complete day. We went from shock that how can we be attacked with the United States, to sorrow, to the innocent lives lost to senseless violence and hatred, to anger that we have to now take this out on somebody, to the following day of charity, of giving. There's no better feeling in the world when you help somebody and don't ask for anything in return. I'm a kidney donor to a complete stranger. I knew this firsthand. But on 9/12 and 9/13 and so on, and for that short time in history, we gave of ourselves without asking for anything in return. It didn't matter whether you were Democrat or Republican. It didn't matter your skin color, black, white, brown. It didn't matter your religion, Catholic, Jewish, Muslim. It didn't matter gender, man or woman. Everybody became human beings, not even Americans. I'm just saying human beings. And the true spirit of the human being is to give. It is to give. And the charity and the giving and the love and the support and the humanity was the most amazing thing I've ever witnessed. And these are the things I'm going to choose to remember from my 5.5 days working on that pile before I was injured. I'm always going to remember what we're capable of, because we have more in common than we don't. To put aside our ideologies and to become human beings again and give of each other. It's that simple. I didn't have John Feal, the FealGood Foundation, to help John Feal 20 years ago. I had to fight for my own benefits.
Were you denied benefits?
I was denied the first BCF. I was denied workman's comp. I was denied Social Security disability. And the 3 companies that I worked for, that I was subbed out to, each one sued each other not to pay my medical bills. I did not have the FealGood Foundation or John Feal the pit bull to help John Feal the puppy, who was on a really steep learning curve. And I fought for myself. Eventually, I'm not going to say I won, but I got what I deserved, and I showed others how to do it when I was going to support groups and counseling. And my mother was diagnosed with cancer around the same time. And I lost her 2 years after that. But she said she's like, you got help, right? You got your benefits, right? I said, yeah. And she's go out there and make sure everybody else has theirs. 2 tips I can give: listen before you speak, and give of yourself as much as possible. It's that simple. This country has a problem and a history of repeating its mistakes. But I believe it's the next generation. This generation is special, especially because of the time we're in right now. And I believe there are beautiful, bright, brilliant leaders of tomorrow in this generation that will ensure, if a 9/11 happens again, that they're going to make sure that they don't make the same mistakes. And we live in a time now where we point fingers at each other instead of accepting responsibility. I pray the next generation is able to accept responsibility. If I made a mistake in front of you, David, I would say, sorry, it's my fault. We don't do that. Nor do we have difficult conversations anymore. Because if your narrative does not fit my narrative, I hate you, and I dismiss you, and done. But I'd rather have that hard conversation with you and learn about you, understand your culture. I want to burn calories with you. I don't want to dismiss you. And we have to get back to that. We should respect each other's ideologies, politics and religions, without attacking each other, without attacking with a vengeance and so much hate. And when you stop and you listen and you take a moment to reflect, you will realize you have more in common with your neighbor than you don't.